So battery powered equipment, ever so slightly different than petrol powered equipment. What we're going to be checking for today is everything around the electrical side and the battery side of things. We already know how to do pre-start checks, we've covered those before in other videos. Like I say, today we just want to be focusing on that electrical element. So first of all, on this still mower, this rotary mower, what we can do on the internals here is we can do a few things to isolate this before we do any work. You can obviously ensure that it's turned off on the handlebars and turned off within this compartment here for the batteries. What we can also do is remove the fuse. Now what this does is ensures that even if there are batteries in place, that this mower will not be able to operate or function. To be extra careful, we can also remove the battery just here. Now with checks for the battery, things that we're going to be looking for is to ensure that there's no damage, there's no leaks, or there's any sort of visual issues we can see with the battery. We also want to be ensuring that the connections here are clean and free from any debris. First of all, it might stop the machine from operating correctly, but also any of that debris could potentially be an ignition source. This is a highly powerful battery and it'll probably go up quite quickly, and obviously we want to avoid that at all possible costs. On the mower we can see our stickers, so these will tell us about maintenance, any sort of health and safety issues. So we've got here, do not store above 50 degrees for example, keep it away from water, away from fire, but also how to store the machine when it's empty. So we can see when there's one red light there, we want to be storing it in a cooler place. As always, we want to refer back to the owner's manual for each particular machine. That might not be the case for your machine. Stihl, Husqvarna, Dennis, lots of various different mowers. You might have to read your own manual to figure out exactly what you need to do with that battery. So we're going to place that battery back in, but only on the basis that we know that that fuse has been removed to ensure that this machine cannot start in any way. What we can also do, just for peace of mind, is we can actually put those handles in together and we know that that machine's not started, so it's nice and safe. So now I want to talk about the differences between cleaning a battery powered machine versus cleaning a petrol or any sort of gas powered machine. What we're going to do is flip this machine over. So as I mentioned earlier, we've isolated this machine before we have flipped it over, but there is differences between this and a petrol powered machine. There's an electronic motor in there as opposed to a crankshaft which runs through an engine. So we have to be really careful when we're cleaning these machines to ensure that we're not getting any sort of water ingress inside of those components, because electricity and water are an obvious thing that do not mix quite well. Not just for a safety aspect, but we want to ensure the longevity of this machine. So when we are cleaning this, we can look at other methods of cleaning. First of all, what we can do is we can brush and remove debris with leaf blowers, for example, or with our hands, and making sure that we're wearing our gloves, and removing that debris first of all. And then considering what we can do next. Do we need to get the jet wash out? Do we actually need to use water at all? Can we use water in a different form? I always recommend with electric powered machinery, we can get a bucket of soapy water and we can actually scrub the machine as opposed to firing water at that machine. What then happens, as I mentioned, is we're going to have a possible chance of any sort of water ingress in any of the electrical components, because there isn't that pressure or as much water volume in and around those areas. Other than that, this machine is pretty similar to a rotary petrol powered machine. The chassis might be ever so slightly thinner, or it might be made of a different type of material. We're seeing a big move towards plastic materials within these mowers rather than metals at the moment. So visually we can see it's very similar. We have a rotary blade with two blades with a sharp edge either side, and it's the same on cylinder machinery. All we just need to be ensuring that those pre-start checks that we follow with any other machine are in place, and we just identify that we've gotten our battery and we've taken the correct safety procedures on that front.